There is one habit, Aristotle wrote, that shapes every choice and ultimately every destiny. Most people today chase motivation, talent, or luck. But Aristotle believed a single, simple discipline, practiced consistently, could transform an ordinary life into one of excellence and long-term success. And here's the twist. Almost no one uses this master habit today. Yet, it's the invisible force behind every breakthrough in leadership, productivity, and personal growth. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what this habit is. The one habit that successful people do automatically and everyone else struggles to start. You'll learn why it works and how to apply it to every decision you make, starting today. If one ancient idea could upgrade your mindset and entire strategy for success, would you ignore it? The mastery starts now. There is an idea at the center of Aristotle's philosophy that many people hear, but almost no one truly understands. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. For Aristotle, this wasn't a motivational line. It was a description of how human nature actually works. Every action you take is shaping your character, your discipline, and ultimately your future. Not the big moments, not the dramatic decisions, the small, repeated choices that seem insignificant in the moment but accumulate over time. Think about a typical morning. The alarm rings. You feel tired. You know you should get up, but the bed is warm and your mind whispers, just 5 more minutes. Aristotle would say that moment isn't about sleep at all. It is training. You are training either your impulse or your intention. You are teaching your mind who is in control. That tiny choice becomes a habit, and that habit becomes part of your character. Now imagine a regular day at work. You're overwhelmed. A coworker interrupts. Your phone keeps buzzing. You feel irritation rising. In that moment, you're not just reacting. You're practicing a pattern. You're building either the habit of composure or the habit of frustration. You're becoming either someone who leads calmly or someone who gets thrown off by every small problem. Aristotle believed success is not the result of talent or luck, but the result of repeated, intentional behavior. Your routines are building your future long before the results show up. You are casting votes with every action. Votes for discipline or distraction, focus or chaos, growth or stagnation. He called this cultivation of virtue, not virtue in a moral or religious sense, but in the sense of operating at your highest capability. Virtue means strength, balance, clarity, the ability to do the right thing at the right time in the right way. And Aristotle believed every virtue is a trained response, something you practice until it becomes natural. Modern neuroscience actually confirms this. Repetition physically changes the brain. What you repeat becomes easier. What you avoid becomes harder. Your mind literally builds pathways that match your habits. Aristotle recognized this pattern more than 2,000 years ago. So it forces you to ask yourself a hard question. Which habits are shaping you right now without your awareness? Are you building habits of excellence or habits of comfort? Habits that move you forward or habits that quietly pull you backward? Habits that make you a stronger leader or habits that make you avoid challenges? You do not suddenly become excellent when a big opportunity appears. You build excellence in the small moments when no one is watching. The ultimate discipline Aristotle taught is simple. Repeatedly practice the behaviors that align you with your highest potential. Practice the right action. Repeat it. Let that repetition shape your character. and your character will shape your success. But if it is so simple, why do most people struggle? Why do people know what to do but fail to do it consistently? That is where the real challenge begins, and that is exactly what comes next. Most people today face a silent enemy Aristotle understood better than anyone: the conflict between what we know we should do and what we actually do. It's not that people lack wisdom. It's not that they don't know what habits would improve their life. The real problem is friction. Modern life is full of comfort, overload, noise, and speed, and all of these things make discipline harder to maintain. Think about how your day starts. Before you even get out of bed, your phone is already pulling at your attention. Notifications, news, emails, messages. You haven't taken a single step, and already your mind is divided. Aristotle lived in a world without digital distraction, but he understood something about human nature that remains true today. Whatever controls your attention ends up controlling your choices. And whatever controls your choices controls your future. Many people wake up with good intentions. They plan to exercise. They plan to work with focus. They plan to be patient, disciplined, strategic. But then the day begins and everything becomes reactive. The boss sends a message. The kids need something. Traffic ruins your morning. You feel rushed, scattered, and behind. In that state, discipline begins to slip because discipline requires clarity. And clarity is almost impossible when you feel overwhelmed. Aristotle saw that most people don't fail because they are incapable. They fail because their environment constantly pulls them toward the path of least resistance. Today that path is easier and more tempting than ever. Fast entertainment, endless scrolling, instant gratification, a constant flood of tiny choices that weaken your long-term strength without you even noticing. Another challenge Aristotle pointed out is the power of emotion. When you're stressed, tired, anxious, or disappointed, your mind doesn't want discipline. It wants relief. It wants escape. It wants comfort. And in those moments, people make choices that go against their goals. You intend to eat healthy, but stress pushes you toward convenience. You intend to work on long-term results, but anxiety pushes you toward short-term distractions. You intend to stay calm, but frustration pushes you to react emotionally. Aristotle believed the key was balance, not eliminating emotion, but training it. Modern Americans face this imbalance every day. The pressure of paying bills, the pressure of raising a family, the pressure of work deadlines, the pressure of staying competitive in a fast-moving world. This constant tension drains discipline like a slow leak that never stops. And when people lose discipline, their confidence drops, their motivation drops, their belief in their own potential drops. Another challenge is inconsistency. Most people wait for motivation to act. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, the perfect circumstances. But Aristotle understood that motivation is unstable. It rises and falls. It comes and goes. If your success depends on motivation, you will only succeed on the days when you feel strong. Discipline, on the other hand, makes success possible every day, even on the days when you don't feel like it. There's also the challenge of comparison. People today constantly look at other people's results. Social media shows the highlight reels of thousands of lives, achievements, wealth, vacations, fitness, business wins. When you compare yourself to these images, your own progress feels slow. Your discipline feels small. You begin to doubt your path. Aristotle knew comparison destroys focus. Instead of building your own excellence, you chase the appearance of excellence. And when you chase appearance, your habits lose authenticity and your goals lose meaning. Aristotle believed the biggest challenge of all is that most people never pause long enough to examine their own patterns. They move fast, but they do not move consciously. They want success, but they do not study their own decisions. They want growth, but they don't question their routines. Without reflection, habits become automatic. And once habits are automatic, they run your life without your permission. Modern Americans experience this more than anyone. Busy schedules, high expectations, constant transitions, work to home, home to work, errands, responsibilities. Everything becomes mechanical. You run your day, but your habits run you. This is why Aristotle insisted that discipline is not just action. It is awareness. You cannot improve what you refuse to observe. You cannot change what you refuse to confront. Understanding your own habits is the first step. Training them is the second. But here is the hopeful part. If your habits are shaping your destiny, you can reshape your destiny by reshaping your habits. You're not stuck. You're not broken. You're not too late. You're just untrained. And training is possible at any age, any level, any stage of life. The question becomes, how do you actually apply Aristotle's method? How do you use these ancient principles in the modern world, where distractions are endless and life is unpredictable? How do you build a discipline strong enough to create real success? This is where everything becomes actionable, and where the next chapter begins. If Aristotle were alive today, he would tell you that the biggest breakthrough in your life will never come from motivation or inspiration. It will come from small, repeatable actions that you turn into automatic behaviors. The goal isn't to force discipline. The goal is to make discipline your natural default. And the way to do that is through simple, practical habits you can apply immediately. The first action is intentional beginnings. Aristotle believed the start of anything determines its direction. Most people wake up and fall straight into reaction mode. They check their phone, respond to messages, and let the world set the tone for their day. But if the first moments of your morning are reactive, the rest of the day becomes reactive too. Instead, create a small beginning ritual, something that signals to your mind that you are leading the day, not chasing it. It could be 1 minute of deep breathing, a quiet moment before touching your phone, a small stretch, writing one sentence about today's intention. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It needs to be consistent. That consistency begins to shape your mindset, your focus, and your decision-making. The second practical habit is deliberate choice. Aristotle taught that you build character by choosing the right action, even when the wrong one feels easier. This doesn't mean choosing the perfect action. It means pausing long enough to choose consciously. When you're about to scroll on your phone, pause. When you're tempted to delay something important, pause. When frustration rises and you want to react, pause. That small pause is the birthplace of discipline. It creates space between impulse and identity, and in that space, you choose who you want to be. Another powerful action is reducing friction. Modern life is full of tiny obstacles that make good habits harder. If you want to read more, but your books are hidden in a drawer, the friction is too high. If you want to work out, but your gym clothes aren't ready, the friction is too high. If you want to focus, but your phone is nearby, the friction is too high. Aristotle believed virtue grows when you make the right actions easier and the wrong actions harder. Set up your environment so your best choices require the least effort. This isn't about willpower, it's about strategy. Next is the habit of micro-practice. Aristotle taught that excellence is trained through repetition, not intensity. Most people try to overhaul their life in one dramatic burst of effort. They diet hard for a week. They work intensely for a few days. They organize everything at once. But intensity burns out. Consistency compounds. Instead of a giant workout, do 5 minutes. Instead of a full cleaning session, clean one drawer. Instead of writing a full page, write one paragraph. These small wins create momentum. Momentum creates identity, and identity creates long-term success. Another action is emotional regulation. Aristotle believed that discipline is not suppressing emotion, but directing it. When you feel stressed, angry, or overwhelmed, the goal is not to deny those feelings. The goal is to respond intentionally. A simple practice is labeling the emotion. Say to yourself, I am feeling pressure. I am feeling frustration. I am feeling fear. Naming the emotion weakens its grip. It gives your mind control. And when your mind is in control, your decisions improve. Aristotle also emphasized the power of purposeful repetition. Habits don't become automatic just because you repeat them. They become automatic because you repeat them with awareness. When you practice patience, focus on the feeling of being patient. When you practice discipline, notice the pride of choosing discipline. When you practice calmness, feel the clarity that comes with it. This conscious repetition builds stronger neural pathways. The habit becomes part of your identity, not just part of your routine. Another tool is evening reflection. Aristotle believed that examining your day strengthens your character. Modern life is fast, but taking 2 minutes at the end of the day to ask yourself 3 questions can transform your consistency. What did I do well? Where did I slip? What will I do better tomorrow? This practice keeps your habits aligned with your goals. It prevents drift. It sharpens self-awareness. And self-awareness is the engine of discipline. Finally, Aristotle would tell you to celebrate small victories, not with rewards or external validation, but with internal acknowledgement. Every time you choose the right action, you reinforce a powerful message. I am becoming the person I want to be. This is how discipline becomes self-sustaining. This is how habits become natural. This is how success becomes predictable. And yet, as powerful as these actions are, they are only the beginning. They build the foundation. But Aristotle believed true excellence requires something bigger than personal habits. It requires leadership. It requires strategy. It requires a deeper level of self-command and balance that impacts not just your life, but the lives of people around you. That is where the next level begins. Aristotle believed that true discipline reaches its highest form when it shapes not only how you manage yourself, but how you influence the world around you. Modern leadership, whether in a corporate office, a small business, a community role, or even inside your own home, is ultimately the ability to guide behavior, create clarity, and make decisions rooted in wisdom rather than impulse. This is where Aristotle's philosophy becomes a powerful blueprint for success. A modern leader faces constant tension. People depend on you. Problems come without warning. Deadlines tighten. Expectations rise. You juggle personal responsibilities, professional goals, emotional pressure, and the weight of time. Aristotle understood leadership long before the word existed the way we use it today. He believed a leader is someone who combines discipline with balance, someone who acts with intention, not reaction, someone who chooses the middle point between extremes and uses that middle point to create stability and direction. One of Aristotle's strongest leadership principles is rational decision-making. He taught that clarity comes from stepping back, not rushing forward. In modern workplaces, many leaders make decisions out of urgency. They feel the pressure to respond immediately. They rush, they guess, they react emotionally, and mistakes follow. But Aristotle would say the leader who pauses, observes, and asks the right questions will always outperform the one who moves without reflection. A calm mind sees what a stressed mind misses. When you slow down just enough to think clearly, you naturally make better strategic decisions. Another leadership lesson from Aristotle is the importance of setting the emotional tone. In any group, the emotional state of the leader becomes the emotional state of the environment. If you're scattered, the team becomes scattered. If you're unfocused, the group becomes unfocused. If you're reactive, conflict spreads. But when you show calmness, balance, and discipline, people around you begin to match that energy. Aristotle believed virtue is contagious. The way you carry yourself influences the behavior of others more than your words ever could. Aristotle also taught the importance of consistent example. Modern leaders often struggle because they say one thing but live another. They demand discipline but operate chaotically. They preach productivity but procrastinate. They talk about excellence but cut corners. People do not follow instructions. They follow patterns. When your actions are aligned with your principles, trust becomes effortless. And trust is the foundation of leadership, success, and productivity. Another powerful principle is the balance between boldness and caution. Aristotle believed every strength becomes a weakness when taken to an extreme. Too much caution leads to stagnation. Too much boldness leads to recklessness. Modern leaders face this every day. Make the wrong move and you lose time, money, or opportunity. Stay too cautious and you fall behind competitors. Aristotle's middle way offers a solution. Move forward with intention, not fear. Take action, but act with preparation. Step forward, but step with calculated clarity. This balance produces consistent progress without unnecessary chaos. Aristotle would also emphasize the importance of long-term thinking. Many people focus on quick wins, instant results, and short-term gains. But a leader who wants lasting success must think in years, not days. Every small habit you practice builds the foundation of your future strategy. Every clear decision creates long-term stability. Every disciplined action becomes a structural part of your career growth. Leaders who think long-term naturally make decisions that protect their future rather than satisfy their momentary comfort. Another key concept is harmony. Aristotle viewed leadership as the ability to align your actions, your goals, and your values. Many leaders today feel internally divided. They chase goals that conflict with their lifestyle. They pursue success that damages their health. They sacrifice balance until burnout becomes unavoidable. Aristotle believed true excellence requires harmony. The best leaders protect their energy, manage their schedules, respect their limits, and operate from a state of balance. From balance comes strength. From strength comes clarity. And from clarity comes powerful leadership. One more principle Aristotle would highlight is the importance of preparation. Most modern stress comes from lack of readiness. People rush because they didn't plan. They panic because they didn't anticipate. They become overwhelmed because they overloaded their schedule. Preparation is discipline turned into strategy. When you prepare, you remove friction. You eliminate guesswork. You create space for good decisions. Preparation doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees stability. And stability is one of the greatest advantages a leader can have. Aristotle's final leadership insight is simple but life-changing. A leader must lead themselves before leading anyone else. If your habits are weak, your leadership becomes inconsistent. If your emotions control you, your decisions become unreliable. If your discipline collapses, your influence collapses with it. But when you master your routines, your actions, your mindset, and your emotional balance, people naturally trust you. They feel your strength. They respect your clarity. They follow your example. And yet, leadership is not the final stage of Aristotle's method. There is one step beyond discipline, beyond strategy, beyond leadership. The stage where everything comes together and transforms not only your results, but your identity. That final stage is mastery. Aristotle believed that mastery is not a single moment of achievement, but a gradual transformation of the entire self. It is the point where discipline stops feeling like effort and begins to feel like identity. It is where you no longer push yourself forward because the actions you once struggled to maintain have become natural parts of who you are. Mastery is not perfection. It is alignment. It is the moment when your habits, your thinking, your choices, and your values all move in the same direction. Most people never reach mastery because they stop at improvement. They build a few habits. They make some progress. They feel better. And then they settle. Aristotle warned against this. He believed that excellence is a lifelong pursuit. You don't stop when life gets comfortable. You don't stop when results appear. You continue because excellence is not about the outcome. It is about the kind of person you become along the way. In modern life, mastery shows up in small but powerful ways. It is the ability to stay calm in situations that once overwhelmed you. It is the ease with which you focus on work that used to drain your energy. It is making the healthy choice without negotiation. It is speaking with confidence where you once held back. It is saying no without guilt. It is saying yes without hesitation. It is the quiet strength of knowing you are in command of your life. Aristotle believed that transformation happens through repeated alignment. You choose the right action. You repeat it. You refine it. And eventually, your identity shifts. You begin to think like the person you are becoming, not the person you used to be. When that shift happens, results accelerate. You make decisions faster. You recover from setbacks quicker. You use your time better. You recognize opportunities earlier. You operate at a different level because your inner world has changed. One of the clearest signs of mastery is emotional stability. When discipline becomes natural, your emotional reactions become more balanced. You no longer get thrown off by small problems. You don't take things as personally. You don't let stress dominate your choices. Instead, you respond with clarity and intention. This emotional strength protects your productivity, your relationships, and your long-term success. Another sign of mastery is consistency without struggle. Many people force themselves to be disciplined for a few days or weeks. They fight their habits like they are wrestling an opponent. But at the level of mastery, discipline feels lighter. It feels obvious. It feels expected. You don't negotiate with yourself about doing the right thing. You simply do it because it is part of your identity. Aristotle believed this was the true reward of virtue, the freedom that comes when effort turns into ease. Mastery also brings a new relationship with time. Instead of feeling rushed, you feel directed. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you feel focused. Instead of being stuck in short-term thinking, you start moving with long-term vision. You no longer chase success. You build it intentionally. You no longer wait for opportunity. You prepare for it. You position yourself so that when opportunity arrives, you are already ready. Another transformation Aristotle emphasized is the strengthening of character. Character is your internal compass. It determines what you tolerate, what you pursue, what you value, and what you reject. As discipline deepens, your character becomes sharper. You trust yourself more. You respect yourself more. You follow through. You stop excusing behaviors that limit you. You stop chasing things that don't align with your future. You gain a quiet certainty that guides your choices. This inner transformation changes how others perceive you as well. People sense your stability. They sense your clarity. They sense your direction. They see you as a person who is reliable, steady, and capable. This creates opportunities. It attracts trust. It elevates your influence. Leaders, partners, teams, and friends rely on those who demonstrate consistent strength. Mastery makes you one of those people. Aristotle believed that the greatest transformation happens when discipline becomes effortless and excellence becomes instinctive. At this stage, you create not just success but longevity. You build a life that grows stronger over time instead of collapsing under pressure. You become adaptable, resilient, focused, and intentional. You stop drifting and start directing. You stop reacting and start leading. This transformation is not loud. It doesn't come with applause. It doesn't require validation. It is quiet, stable, and deeply personal. You feel different. You think different. You choose different. You become different. And now, with all the pieces in place, only one step remains. The final minute where we bring everything together and crystallize the core of Aristotle's method. The mindset, discipline, and leadership approach that can elevate your entire life when applied with intention. Aristotle believed that a successful life isn't built in dramatic moments. It's built in the quiet discipline of shaping your habits, guiding your decisions, and training your character. Everything in your life is being created by what you repeatedly choose. Not once, not occasionally, but every single day. Every intentional routine strengthens your mindset. Every deliberate choice trains your character. Every repeated action becomes a habit that supports long-term success. And every moment of clarity you create becomes an anchor in a chaotic world. Aristotle taught that directing your actions means directing your future. You rise above impulsive decisions by creating space between emotion and response. You elevate your life by improving the quality of your daily behaviors. You build leadership by first learning to lead yourself. This isn't ancient theory. It's a practical tool for modern life. It helps you stay calm under pressure, think strategically, make wiser decisions, and pursue opportunity instead of comfort. And most importantly, it shapes you into someone capable of sustaining success, not just chasing it. Carry 3 truths with you. First, your habits are shaping you every moment. Second, consistency beats intensity. And third, disciplined actions eventually become a disciplined identity. Aristotle's method transforms you from the inside out. Once your identity shifts, your actions shift. And once your actions shift, your life follows. If you want more videos that turn ancient wisdom into modern leadership and personal growth, subscribe and turn on notifications. And comment which part of Aristotle's method you'll apply next. If you want to understand why your life feels off balance, watch The Golden Mean, Why Your Life is Missing Balance. If you want to build real influence and leadership, watch From Zero to Alpha, Aristotle's Simple Guide to True Leadership. Your future doesn't need a perfect moment. It needs your next deliberate action.